Hello, welcome. My name is Yvonne Diaz, and I'm the co-founder of Oncogene Cancer Research. Today, I'm really pleased to be introducing you to Kathrin, who's living in Germany with stage 4 ALK-positive lung cancer. Kathrin, welcome.
Welcome.
And why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you wound up being diagnosed with lung cancer as well?
I'm 45 years old and I'm living in Munich, Germany. And I was diagnosed in 2024, so 1 year um, before with ALK-positive stage 4 lung cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did this come about? We have spoken before. You're a fitness professional, you're normally
Yes.
very active, you're a mom of a young son. So what was going on? How did you find out?
Well, approximately 1 year before, I realized that there is something going on with me. Something didn't feel right. I was tired all the time. I was very susceptible to infection. I slept a lot. I felt some sort of depression. I was sad all the time, worrying, anxious. So that was the first sign, I would say. And then I had an abscess in my throat. I think it's called the Laverian abscess. Yeah, it's here in this road. It was here in this road, and I went to a hospital, and everyone was surprised because I have a non-smoking history, and that's very untypical for someone who is a non-smoker. But then they gave me antibiotics, and yeah, it disappeared. And then just, I would say, yeah, a month later. Back home, I felt some pain in my left foot. As you already mentioned, I'm a fitness professional and I did some exercise. And then suddenly I felt some pain and I thought that I hurt myself. That's a torn ligament or something like this. So I went to the doctor and they thought the same. And it took me another weeks because the pain got worse and worse, to have an MRI, and the MRI showed that there is a tumor in my left foot. And first, the doctors thought that it's a benign one, but then biopsy showed that it was a malignant one. Yeah, and that's how they found out that I have cancer.
Crazy. I mean, and you must have been completely shocked. Here you are, in your early 40s and active, healthy, like you say, you never smoked in your life. And Um, so what was going through your mind, and when did you learn that it was actually lung cancer? Because when you think of foot pain and a foot tumor, even like you don't think from the lungs, that doesn't make sense. So how did that come about?
The first thing that came into my mind was the fates of my grandmothers. Both of my grandmothers died from cancer. So the first thought was, okay, I I think I'm gonna die. And, yeah. Then there was a PET CT, and the PET CT showed that it must come from the lung. And just a few days later, there was a bronchoscopy and a biomarker testing that revealed that it came from the lung and that it's an mutation, genetic mutation called ALK-positive. So that's how I was finally diagnosed.
And
Yeah,
when they said these words to you, ALK positive, like, I don't know about you, but I just thought lung cancer was one disease. And I had a
yeah,
certain
yeah,
image of who got it and what caused it. And
exactly.
so when you heard these words, did you think like, well, what does that even mean? And yeah.
Well, I was very lucky because a friend of mine, she's an oncologist, and she explained everything to me. And she's working at a very renowned clinic nearby Cologne. And so she was very informed. She's a lung cancer oncologist, and she told me about the mutation, about the treatment. So I already know very soon that that there's some sort of pills I can take. So no chemo, no battle I have to fight. Just taking some pills, and yeah, and that's how everything went on. Like, okay, there was the bronchoscopy, the biomarker testing, the results that shows, okay, it was ALK-positive lung cancer, and then the treatment option, targeted therapy for me.
So lucky to have a close friend like that because it's
Yeah,
intimidating and you're waiting. There's so many tests that happen when we're being diagnosed. And what about when your oncologist delivered the news? Like how did he or she deliver this and what were your thoughts? Because yeah, how did it come?
well, two perspectives. The one was, okay, no battle I have to fight. On the one hand, relief, and on the other hand, like, surprise. I couldn't really believe that there is such an easy and painless option for me. So it took me a few weeks to really realize, okay, these pills are working for you. First, I was just like, okay, just pills? No. Then, no, 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 I think you're wrong. There have to be something very aggressive to hit it hard. Where's my battle? So really strange things going on in my mind, until I finally realized, okay, this is modern therapy. These are modern options of cancer treatment.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's so true. And obviously for ALK, your timing of your diagnosis came around some amazing, incredible data showing some new efficacy in this
exactly.
in this first line
Yeah,
treatment. So that must have been quite exciting to be, among the first people taking this new treatment in this new way. So I don't know, did they explain much of this data? Were you told, like, how did you start informing yourself? Because I think as patients, there's a lot of talk about this shared decision making. And I always think in the first line setting, we're so vulnerable. We're not really equipped to make decisions, right? I mean, at that moment, I just thought if my oncologist said to me, stand on your head, I would have done it without question and just done whatever he would have told me. So, how did you, obviously, you had your oncologist friend. Maybe that was
yes,
a
that
big
was
blessing for you.
my
Yeah.
my lifeline at that
Yeah.
moment, because she explained everything to me. There weren't so many explanations at this moment. It was just like, okay, it's lorlatinib, take it. And then the next appointment, they mentioned, or he mentioned, the Crown studies. Um, so I got a feeling that this is really a powerful drug. I really saw the data, and um, yeah, that was, but that was the second appointment. So in this time, I really have to inform I had to inform myself, really, to make, yeah, to check on this drug, if it's really the right drug, and if it's really working the way that I want it to work. Yeah,
But I'm glad you did that. I mean, that's so important
yeah,
because, we being part of our care is one of the best things we can do, right? And
exactly.
and doing that. So, and where did you? Because I think since we're told this, don't Google. It just feels like such bad advice. And instead, our care team should be telling us there are patient organizations, patient groups, or here's some patient friendly information.
Yeah, that would
So
be
knowing where
great.
to go, right? You can
Yeah,
uncover bad data, wrong data, out of date data. So was your oncologist friend also guiding you on where to go for information, or how did you know where to go?
well, I think first it was my husband who tried to stay informed. He was really checking on the internet. He was Googling. And later, it was myself. I went on Instagram and I met all these great people like you. Um, to have a community on the one hand, so really a support community, even we're all over the world, we're somehow connected, and this connection, I really feel this connection, and this every day when I um, open Instagram and I see you all, really makes me happy to have such a lung cancer family. And yeah, there are also great people like Eric Singy. They're doing great works or great efforts to inform patients and to empower them to make shared decision, to get knowledge about what's going on. Yeah, but you really have to be active by yourself. There's no one guiding you. There's no doctor who's telling you, okay, hey, I know Yvonne Diaz, she's so great. Just try to connect with her. Or there's Eric Singy. I know he's really great in all this patient education that they don't, I don't know why. Maybe they don't really know. They are not interested in. I don't know. But I think this is really, really helpful. And to separate the bad from the good information, to make sure that your patient has the right informations to make really shared decision. Because if you have the wrong informations, you're discussing two different things. And that's very exhausting for the one and for the other side. So it would be easier to just guide the patient towards people who really has the knowledge.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
and you've said so many important things here because number one, that in that time when you couldn't like really, or maybe because you are, it's quite terrifying when you hear these words and so much is going on, and obviously you weren't feeling well for some time, and then your foot and everything was getting progressively worse. But having your husband be that person who did do the Googling, I think is so important. And I often think like, look, joining the support groups or even searching for information online, it's not for everyone, but do find someone to help you with that, because being informed, right? And some of the advice, a friend of mine with ALK-positive lung cancer said at the, early on in my diagnosis, no one wants you to live as much as you and your family. And find the care team that you
exactly.
believe in, right? And so you need to be playing an active role in whatever way that means. And like you say, but finding those reliable sources of information is not easy, but
Yeah,
it can be hard. It can be really
yeah,
tough. Now, you recently had your 1 year anniversary, which is really
yeah, that's
exciting.
true.
So,
Hmm.
but also at the same time, it wasn't like plain sailing. You also had a bit of odd news in a scan. So this is the thing, even on these great, targeted therapies where the data is great, I often feel like we're on this roller coaster with all these bumps, and you've got to be tough to kind of weather this. So do you want to share like what happened and how you got through that?
Yeah, I have my scans every 3 to 4 months to see what's going on in my body, and it was one of these scans, and there was something showing up on my liver, and it was clear what it was. So there were some days where I almost had the same feelings that I had almost 1 year ago. That was really that roller coaster you described, like feeling this very emotional, very anxious, worried, couldn't sleep. Yeah, all these feelings you described. And then it showed, or it came, the results came, and it showed that it was just a cyst, a harmless cyst. So this is part of our journey.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's not easy. And I don't know if there's anything that you do to help get you through, because that those periods of unknown, the scan anxiety that people talk about, right? You get the scan, and I don't know about you, but sometimes leading up to my scan, I feel everything, right? And like, oh, I'm having this rib pain, or I'm having this and that and the
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
Is that happening to you?
Pain everywhere. I'm running out of breath. Something's wrong with my breath. Oh, maybe it's back. Yeah, it's exactly how you describe. And you really have to calm yourself down, find some tools to manage it, because otherwise you're getting crazy. And then you have this anxiety going on, going on, going on. So you have your scans, then you just have a few weeks where you feel some sort of relief, and then it's going back, whoop, up. And that's not how it should be. We really have to find some sort of resilience. That's very important, really, to be rooted in yourself, just to manage it.
And what do you do?
Yeah.
What's like your way of getting through it?
Okay, I think for me, the thing that's most important is meditation. I do my Joe Dispenza meditation, and this really helps me with every bad feeling. And the second thing is just connect with great people like you. I know we talked on phone about my pictures, and you said to me, okay, whatever it is, there will always be a way. And sometimes this is so hard to feel, and you really need someone to tell you, hey, be calm, there will always be a way. Yeah. Third thing is go out, take a breath, really look around. It's a beautiful day, beautiful people around you, exercising. Please stay in the present moment and with your body. Because when you lose all this anxious feeling, then you really get back into your body and you feel, okay, I'm fine. I can breathe. There's nothing on my lungs. There is no real pain in the abdomen. There is just some tingling there. So I think this is, yeah, this is what helps me dealing with all these things going on in my mind.
Yeah, it's so much, isn't it? And I appreciate you sharing those tips, because I think it's always helpful to hear what works for somebody else. And I mean, for me, a couple times, and I've heard someone else also say this was their experience, where you're feeling all these things, you have these pains, and the minute you get the news, the pain's gone. Like,
Yeah,
it's remarkable. It's a miracle.
yeah,
Like, before that, I was so sure there must
yeah.
be something there. Right?
That's yeah.
So the mind
Yeah,
is
you
so
see that how
strong.
strong the mind is. Yeah, yeah,
It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Great.
You're
Listen, I so
absolutely right.
appreciate talking with you about this first part in terms of how you were diagnosed and knew you had lung cancer. So we're going to continue this conversation in a moment. We'll go back to some further aspects of living with ALK positive. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.